Clare Daly.
Corla. I have to say I thought the Minister's tone was quite unhelpful. I think it's a very progressive move that we are discussing this topic here today, and I compliment Deputy Stanley on tabling it, because you see, despite your protestations, Minister, the reality is that from the very beginning of Ireland's attempts to fluoridate the water, it has been an incredibly controversial subject. 50 years ago today, or this year, Gladys Ryan took a High Court and then ultimately a Supreme Court challenge against the state. And I want to, in the same vein as saluting the campaigners of today, to salute her, a woman who died this year in her 1990s, when as a housewife took on the power of the state in this battle, which was something which was definitely not done at that time. You'll be aware, Minister, that this was a very important legal case. It lasted for 65 days and went on in an appeal to the Supreme Court. And this woman was an environmentalist before her time, and she challenged the issue on a couple of points, mainly that it was unconstitutional, in her opinion, to interfere with the public water supply, since people had no option but to drink it, and that those who wanted fluoride had an alternative and could get it through toothpaste. And I think that argument still stands today. She was represented by Sean McBride. She had a huge legal team who operated with her pro bono, and they argued that it was an infringement on human rights because it removed choice. They also presented a lot of international experts at that time who gave evidence that it caused more damage than it was designed to help. And that's really the nub of the issue that has gone on since then. But I think we need to look at that, because time has moved on and experience has moved on, and I have to say I did think a lot of the Minister's points were caught in a bit of a time warp. In essence, the Minister claimed boldly that supporting Deputy Stanley's bill would lead to a deterioration in dental health. You said that, and it's simply not true. And we don't even have to quote scientific studies, of which there are not one or two, or not even the one or two that you had to rely on from 30 or 20 years ago. But there is the direct experience of the 98% of the European countries who do not fluoridate their water supply, and whose dental standards of dental care are way in excess of what it is in this country. We have the direct experience of the reality that only 9 other countries fluoridate more than 50% of their water supply. Now, we are not the league table leader in terms of dental care and dental standards. We're not. We're well down the list. So it's quite clear that fluoride in our water is not helping that scenario. We can say that absolutely as a fact. Many of the other claims about the damage I'm not so sure about, but I think a lot of very able scientific people have put forward evidence to say that there is a lot of negative health impacts in relation on the other side of the equation. And you know, you relied a lot on the Irish expert group report, but it's my understanding that that report was 350 pages long. Of that, only about 1.5 pages dealt with the issues of health. And with the greatest respect to dentists, I think they're great people and all the rest, but I don't think they're experts in the biological effects of consuming toxins. There should have been paediatricians, oncologists, toxicologists, neurologists involved in any serious health service and that health examination, and that's the point that's been made. There hasn't been a serious analysis of the health effects of fluoride in our water. And I'd like the Minister to comment on the fact that after that expert group report, the Food Safety Authority of Ireland were a bit concerned and recommended the fact that fluoridated water should not be added to infant formula. It should not be diluted with fluoridated water. Now, that recommendation which was made, that's a fact, because of the concern with infants' bodies of poisoning them, was never implemented. So if there was a danger there, and if they felt it then, why are we saying now that there is no case to answer? I think what we should be doing in this, we should have a practical attitude to it. I think the way the Finnish authorities dealt with it was quite good in some ways. They removed fluoride without even debating it or saying anything about it. Obviously we can't do that here because we need to change the law. but they examined the health effects afterwards, and there had been considerable improvements in health on a whole number of accounts after they removed fluoride. So why don't we take an experiment the opposite way? Even if we were to accept that the information is not conclusive, although I have to say it's overwhelmingly in favour of the fact that fluoride doesn't do any good and does harm, why don't you take it out for a year? See how you get on and carry out a survey at the end of it. The worst thing that will happen is you'll save €4 million that can be used on other beneficial projects, and if our experience in Ireland is the same as all of the other European countries, you'll probably save a potload of money on your health budget as well. And I think we should be looking at something in that regard. To me, this discussion is long overdue. I think a lot of the points made by the Minister were made years ago, and science and experience has moved on, and all of the countries that you mentioned where this issue, where fluoride is present, they're actually moving in the direction of removing it, and I think that we should do the same. I think it's reprehensible, actually, that you would medicate a population on a systematic basis when there really is no need for it. And I'm very disappointed, I have to say, with the government's attitude to this. I think it's completely regrettable. It's completely behind the times, and I'm wondering, is it that you believe that if you were to turn around now and remove fluoride, you'll be acknowledging that it should never have been put in the first place? Now, maybe that's the case, but I think you should be the bigger man and take that chance in any way.